Matthews here. Just really some unbelievable stuff. I mean, how blind can somebody be when it comes to his adulation of President Obama? Maybe his, just here's the way the guy looks at him. Now, this is, I guess everybody knows he's not an unbiased reporter over there on MSNBC. So I guess this isn't news that he's a big fan of the president, but he's a bit fanatical. As far as he's concerned, he walks on water. He's the second coming. President Obama can do no wrong in the eyes of a guy who basically, he really worships him. It's not even, maybe adulation isn't even the right word. Maybe it's just worship. He's deified President Obama. Yet what is it about him that would cause, this type of fanatical worship of an individual? But listen to the way listen to the way Chris Matthews describes President Obama. Here, cut number 5.
Why do they get the idea, if it isn't ethnic, and I'll just leave the possibility that it's not, why do they just assume evil on the part of Obama? He's raised his whole life has been crystal clear and clean as a whistle and transparent. We know his whole life through all the great, excellent education he's had, the good part working, the pro bono work he's done throughout his life. He's never been a money grubber. He's never done anything wrong in his life, legally, ethically, whatever. His family is picture perfect. The way he's raised those daughters, everything is clean as a whistle. And yet they just referred him as evil. They just referred him as I just got to believe it's ethnic with these people. They just got a problem with this guy being president. Well, is there any other evidence to justify why they keep calling him a bad man? And that's what they do.
I think that the people who are blinded by race, Chris Matthews, the guy is picture perfect, clean as a whistle. He's never done anything wrong in his life, ever. Legally, ethically, never done anything ethically wrong in his entire life. How does he know? Has he known Barack Obama since he was a little boy? Does he know he's done nothing wrong in his entire life? Why would you make that kind of assumption? What, is it because the president is black, therefore he couldn't have done anything wrong? Maybe it's Chris Matthews who is judging the president not based on his character, but based on his color. Picture perfect. He's raised his daughters. Great. How does he know? Does he know his daughters? Are they any better behaved than the Bush daughters were? How do we know? Yeah, they look good on TV. They're all dressed up nice. But how do we know what they're like? And here he's saying he's never been a money grubber. Oh, okay. Now we know. So people who try to run a business for a profit, they're all money grubbers. See, what makes him so special is that he never wanted to make any money. He did all kinds of stuff for free. Well, how do you know? The president's living a pretty good life. I don't really see him taking some kind of vow of poverty over there in the White House. He's living like a king. He's going to live like a king for the rest of his life. How do you know that he wasn't motivated by all that money? How do you know that the president didn't decide that the best way to make a lot of money was to pretend he didn't want any and go into politics? And of course, making money isn't evil. Was Steve Jobs an evil man because he wanted to make a lot of money? And we got all these great products. All the people in America, all the pioneers of industry that have made our lives so much better because they did it for money. Did that mean they were evil? And of course, the people who aren't pursuing money, that they're somehow, they're so much better. They're better people. But, just listening to this characterization of President Obama, I would never say anything like that about a president, even if I like the president. Why? Because the guy is white, I'm going to say that, he's perfect. He's never done anything wrong. He's never lied. How could he be president without telling lies? There's no way. How did he become a senator without telling lies? And even if he was a good man, because all this is about, what he's going to do with all the information he's getting from the IRS, from the NSA. What about the fact that power corrupts? Even good people when they have power, are corrupted by it. That's the point. That's why we have to prevent this kind of things from happening. That's why we have a constitution, because you take a good man, you put him in a position of power, and he will be corrupted. How do I even know? I might be corrupted if I were president. I've never been president. I don't know how I would handle the power. I like to think that I would be true to my principles, but you never know. Better men than me have been corrupted by power. We're going to play a little bit more of this at the other side of this break. To the words of Chris Matthews as he worships not his president, but apparently his God, the Mr. Perfect, President Obama, who has never done anything wrong in his entire life, never told a lie, never done anything unethical, unmoral, who's raised two angels. His daughters are perfect. Everything about President Obama is perfect. So he doesn't know why anybody could worry about him, could think he might lie about something, that he might possibly be corrupted by power. Or even if you don't think President Obama will be corrupted by power because he's a god. What about his replacement? Does he feel the same way about Hillary Clinton, were she to become president? Does he trust Hillary Clinton with all this information that the NSA has been gathering? Hey, what if it's a Republican? What if a Republican is elected president? Is he gonna be just as trusting about a Republican president who's got all of this information, all of this private information? Is he going to feel the same way if the shoe is on the other foot? Now, if you weren't convinced that Chris Matthews is in fact a racist, because I believe that the only reason he feels this way about the president, not only because he shares his liberal ideology, but I don't even think he would say these things if Barack Obama were white. I think it's all about President Obama being black. See, he thinks other people don't like him because he's black. See, the color of his skin doesn't bother his critics. We couldn't care less what color he is. If he was doing the right thing, we would be saying good things about the president. But I think that it's Chris Matthews who is influenced by President Obama's race. But here is his next comment about this. And imagine, just as you're hearing this, imagine if this were a Republican talking about voting for somebody because they were white. Cut number 6.
Well, the good thing going for Cory Booker, if he's the candidate, Steve, is that we don't have any African Americans in the United States Senate, which I think is a disgrace. It's one of the reasons I voted for our friend Michael Steele when he ran, because I think we ought to have some. It's absurd in this country. It's absurd, Steve.
Well, and that's first of all, just to answer your question.
I'm sorry, we got Tim Scott. I'm sorry, from South Carolina. It's been a point.
This would be Cory Booker would be Cory Booker would be the only elected African American in the Senate. You also have Mo Cowan from Massachusetts right now, which will change in a few weeks.
All right, so here you have Chris Matthews admitting that he voted for a candidate simply because he was black, and he thought we needed more black people, and so he voted for the black person. Now, first of all, it doesn't matter what color the senator is or what gender they are or what their sexual orientation is. What matters is their character, what they stand for, what they're going to do. That's what I base my vote on. I don't care about anything else. But apparently Chris Matthews, the most important thing for him is the color of the person he's voting for. Now, isn't that the definition of a racist? Hey, what if somebody who lived in a district that was mainly represented by blacks, and there certainly are districts that have black representatives, and where some districts where you have more black, maybe not in federal, although maybe in state legislatures, but certainly there are some congressional districts where there's been a black guy representing the district for a long time. What if someone said, we need a white person in office? I'm voting for this guy because we need a white person. Do you think Chris Matthews would be as forgiving and say, what? How could you possibly say that? How could you vote for somebody because they're white? How could you say that we need another white person or there's too many black people? But that's what he's saying. He's saying there's too many white people in the Senate. And we need to vote for black people simply because they're black, because we need more black, as if that's going to give us better government. As somehow the measure of good government is the racial, composition of our House. The racial composition has nothing to do with it. Look, I'd rather, it doesn't matter to me. I'd rather have everybody be white or everybody be black or everybody be women if they do the right thing. I'd rather have an all-white Congress doing the right thing and shrinking government than a racially, proportioned Congress that's growing government and doing everything wrong. I'm concerned about the outcome. I'm not going to sacrifice good government on the altar of racial equality or to somehow make sure that the numbers, that we have a certain number of African Americans or a certain number of Hispanics or a certain number of women, and that as long as we have the right racial composition, well, then we should be happy. No. What makes me happy is a Congress that respects the Constitution. I want good government. I don't care about what color it is. But Chris Matthews, he's the guy that's obsessed with race. That's why he thinks everybody else is a racist, because he is a racist.